The Rover P6 is the saloon that defined Rover's golden era. Produced in Solihull from 1963 to 1977, the P6 was a truly remarkable car for its time. With over 250,000 produced, the public thought so too. This car helped to define the modern saloon as we know it. But what if I told you the P6 wasn't just a saloon? It was a mid-engine supercar, a prototype to power the future that never was. A supercar that was so incredible, it was sabotaged at the last moment and is regarded as one of British Leyland's worst mistakes. That's right, in this video we will cover the remarkable P6 BS, the prototype that aimed to revolutionise motoring and take on the Italians. Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In this video, as mentioned, we are going to cover something incredible. The Rover P6 BS, a supercar that was sabotaged at the last moment. Now, if you're not subscribed, please make sure to do so. It does help me out and you get to see more of this and it supports the channel. Drop a like on the video if you liked it and comment below, what do you think BL's worst misstep was, and if the P6 BS was made, would it have been a success? Now, without further delay, let's get into the video. One of the most mysterious cars of Rover's short-lived Leyland Motors era in 1966 was the P6 BS, a mid-engine sports car based on the Rover P6. In the 1960s, the international racing scene was dominated by a new breed of sports car, mid-engine lightweight cars like the Ford GT40, Lamborghini Miura, with the only real offering for a semi-practical variant of this breed being the Lotus Europa. But the Europa wasn't the full package either. With its maximum power output being 79 brake horsepower, it was light and fast, yes, but powerful it was not. Enter Rover. The company was riding on a high that would be unparalleled by any other era of Rover cars, thanks to their own brilliant design and engineering, branding and the acquisition of the ex-GM V8 engine, the Buick 215, which Rover had modified to create the Rover 3500. This engine went on to power the P5B and the 3500 P6. Rover in the 1960s was an innovative company, always looking for the next big thing, a competitive edge that set them apart from other up-and-coming car manufacturers of the era, in the brave new world of mass-produced automobiles. For Rover, the present looked good, but the future looked even better. With the P6's successor in the works, known internally as the P8, covering the luxury car lineup, the Land Rover covering the utility lineup, and the Range Rover in its early stages of formation, there was only one thing left: a sports car. The sports car for Rover, though, wasn't going to be any old sports car. V8 in the front, rear-wheel drive, they wanted more. Rover's chairman at the time, A.B. Smith, wanted a car to top the Rover lineup, a halo model that was unlike anything else on the market at the time. This meant only one thing: create an incredible car. Spen King and his team, which included Gordon Bashford, were tasked with the creation of this truly special car. King was straight off another revolutionary project at the time, the Rover BRM gas turbine race cars. Drawing from this, Spen King and his team decided on the mid-engined layout. The car was then christened as the P6 BS, with BS standing for Buick Sports. Based on the P6 2000, the car would use the same setup with adapted rear suspension to house the rear engine and drivetrain. Since this was an engineering car though, it was decided to use several parts from unlikely sources. The steering rack was courtesy of a Vauxhall Viva, with the seats coming from the Series 1 E-Type, with several other off-the-shelf Rover parts also being thrown in for good measure. Existing designs of mid-engine cars had a problem though: practicality. This is when the team at Rover came into their own. The BS had a longitudinally mounted V8, which was off-centre by around 6 inches, with the Alvis designed chain transfer drive and differential placed alongside the engine. This compact package maintained lateral weight distribution. The gearbox was mounted in between the front seats, mounted on its side to give more room in the front passenger compartment. With the layout of the mid-engine, the scuttle could be lowered as well, resulting in better visibility, which was King's aim at the beginning. For the bodywork, Abbey Panels were instructed to put this mule together, which would be tidied up for production by David Bache. This of course produced the signature carb bubble, which looks very space age. The outcome of this was an advanced but usable sports car, with a mid-engined layout, low weight and incorporating the advanced suspension of the P6, it was more than a worthy contender in the sports car ring. The crowning jewel of this new advanced sports car would be the Rover V8, uprated to its maximum power output of 185 brake horsepower. According to the reports cited by AR Online, the car would reach 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds and go on to 140 mph max speed. On the practicality front, the car would have 3 seats and usable boot space. The team had really aimed and hit right on target. The car was then paraded in front of the press as the Leyland GE at the New York Motor Show in March of 1968. That same year and same month, the car was given to Motor Magazine for a road test, with them taking the car to the Scottish Highlands to put it through its paces. The outcome was spectacular, but the article speaks for itself. The performance is terrific, and the traction, despite the modest weight of little more than a tonne, probably superior to that of any other car around. To us, perhaps the most impressive thing about the car is that it could have almost passed for a fully sorted, finished product. It is hard to believe that, as a low priority project, it had undergone little more than a spare time development from when it was built at the Alvis factory, straight from Spen King's design office. The power to weight ratio of 175 brake horsepower per tonne spells capital P, performance. Even in this still relatively mild state of tune, the BS will match a 4.2 E-Type to 100 mph and actually beat it to 60 miles an hour. Considering that the engine is capable of giving well over 300 brake horsepower and that this prototype's drag coefficient could no doubt be improved, you begin to realise the car's enormous untapped potential, not just for high-speed road work, but perhaps for competition too. Motor Magazine even mentioned the car's maximum speed was too fast for Myra's Bank track, with the actual top speed remaining unknown. The car was a smash hit. David Bache was then instructed to tidy up the styling with his team. The project was then designated the P9 project, with several sketches being produced and styling mock-ups that were worthy of such an incredible car. The P9 was rapidly coming together, with this incredible car becoming the flagship of the range to rival any other manufacturer's offering at home and abroad. But enter British Leyland, and guess what they did? With the restructuring of the company to form the British Leyland Motor Corporation we all know today, this came with competing ideas, with the BS competing directly now with the E-Type and the up-and-coming XJS. The decision had to be made. For Jaguar to thrive, Rover's world-beating sports car had to be axed. As with most things in companies large and small, it all came down to a boardroom battle, which at the time Rover had no representation in. And with Sir William Lyons of Jaguar being a prominent figure of BL's board, the decision was made to axe the project. With this came the loss of Rover's most promising car. The P6 BS lives on in legend as the Rover that never was, a Rover that rivaled supercars in its best era, but this was not to be, and is regarded as one of British Leyland's biggest mistakes. Along with this, many other incredible cars were axed as well. The MG EX234, the MGB that should have been, and Triumph's new executive car range for the new decade of the 1970s. There was only one P6 BS produced. This car is now preserved at the British Motor Museum where it resides today, and it is a truly incredible sight. So if you want to see this piece of history, as well as all of the other incredible history those guys are preserving there, please head down to the British Motor Museum at Gaydon. This story is just another example of a once proud Rover's downfall, where its downfall was as well engineered as the cars of its golden era. Most of you probably already know what my opinion of this car will be. What an amazing car, and what a damn shame it wasn't produced. Now, this is of course another British Leyland misstep, and another step on the way to Rover's downfall. Now, this really does show that Rover was not in charge of its own corporate identity, it wasn't in charge of its own destiny under British Leyland, and I think that is fairly evident here. Of course, when British Leyland eventually became Austin Rover, the same thing applied there. With their time with Honda, that also meant Rover was a bit hamstrung by that. Then they had the time with BMW, and then they were tied in with those guys, so they weren't allowed to flourish there. And then in 2000, they became MG Rover, and because of money, because of costs, resources, they just weren't given the space to thrive. The real shame with Rover is if you look at them in the 50s and 60s, an independent Rover was thriving. We had gas turbine cars. We were looking to the future of the car. We were also looking at the present and improving that. It was truly incredible what they were doing in the 50s and 60s. So the P6 BS is just another example of that. And it's just an incredible wasted opportunity yet again. The P6 BS, I think, if it wasn't a commercial success in terms of sales numbers, would have been a marketing success. If this is a success, if you've ever seen one. 185 brake horsepower, just over a ton, as the motor article mentioned. Power to weight ratio of 175 bhp per ton. That is just incredible for a car of the 60s. And it really, you've got the Rover of the 50s and 60s, which is, it's very forward thinking, very, they're very forward thinking, they're very innovative. And then you've, of course, there's this image of Rover in the 50s and 60s. They're very forward thinking, they're very innovative. Jet cars, P6 BS, mid-engined, the P6, one of the best sports saloons Britain's ever made, setting the template for the saloon, helping define the saloon for the next 50 years. And then you have another step to Rover's downfall, which is unfortunately for me, and well, I can't say unfortunately for me because the Rover SD1 is a fantastic car. The Rover SD1, you've got to think from the era of innovation in the 50s and 60s to the SD1, consumers and Rover customers who had P6s, who had P5Bs and P5s that were looking to upgrade, they then moved onto the SD1 and were bitterly disappointed by the incredible bad build quality as a result of the strikes at the time. So Rover is really a cautionary tale of what a company, how great ideas, great engineering, great execution can be destroyed, can be undermined by corporate politics and strikes and bad management. And it is this, you guys know how passionate I am about this, and a lot of you guys are as well, otherwise you wouldn't be here watching these videos. It's a real shame, and I just love telling these stories, and I love interacting with you guys and you guys helping me tell the stories as well. Big shout out, of course, to AR Online, Keith Adams and the team. Those guys are the best, truly just inspirational in terms of their journalism. They're just true experts, and that they're absolutely incredible. You guys already know who these guys are because they're fantastic. But without further delay, further waffling, that's how we're going to end the video. So drop your suggestions below. What would you like me to make next? What's your opinion on this? Is the P6 BS a missed opportunity, or did they dodge a bullet? Let me know. But as usual, thank you for watching. Keep watching, and remember to subscribe for more of this, and I will see you in the next one.